Okay, so assuming you have Visual Studio installed, click on the icon here to launch Visual Studio. Alright, so now I have Visual Studio launched on my screen. Let's go ahead and get started. First thing we want to do is create a new project. Hit File, New, and then go to Project. You will see that Visual Studio has so many options. You're gonna want to go to Visual C#. From this one, you're gonna have to use or choose Windows Forms application. Because like I said, we're gonna build a Windows Forms application. So let's call this one Tic-Tac-Toe C#. Then hit OK. This will create your application for you. So I'm gonna just make it a little bit larger here so we can work with it, place some controls on it. So let's do the first thing, which is, as you can see here, the caption form 1. Let's change that. Under the text here on the right side, you can see the properties window. You're gonna change the text to Tic-Tac-Toe because that's the name of our game. As you can see here, it's now Tic-Tac-Toe. So just to try this out, let's try to run this application. 2 ways to do that. As you can see here on the toolbar, there's a green play button, the start button. This will actually run the application in debug mode. So if you have any breakpoints, it will step into the debugger. I don't want to do that. Instead, I'm going to use the Control F5 hotkey on the keyboard, and that will compile and run. So now you can see my app is up and running. As you can see here, this app actually has, we need to change it. It has a resizable area. The caption bar, you have a maximize button. It can go all the way up and you can minimize it from here and you can resize it. So given that we don't want to resize our application, we're going to make some changes to this default behavior. So close it, go back to Visual Studio, make sure you highlight and click on the form. Going to look for 2 properties to change. The first one is we want to get rid of the maximize button. So that we do by looking for the maximize. So here you see I have it alphabetically sorted on the properties. Look for letter M and then there should be here you see maximize box. This should be false. Oops, this one should be false. Double click on it or you can choose from here. So now there's no maximize box. The next property we want to change is called form border style. See here, form border style. Right now it's set to sizable. We don't want to make it sizable. Let's make it fixed dialog. So now we made these 2 changes. Hit Control F5 on the keyboard again to compile and run. Now you can see my app has the maximize button is not clickable and I can no longer maximize this app or resize it. This is good. Let's close it again and see this other thing we want to change. When you hit Control F5 again, the form actually starts somewhere on the screen and it doesn't start in the center. So we need to make it centered on the screen. And that we can do by changing another property. So close the app, click back here again on the form, and then look for start position. By default, it's like Windows default location. Instead, we should just make it center screen. That change will make it basically centered on the screen. Control F5. Now it's in the center. Great. Okay, so that's it for this lecture. In the next lecture, we will start building the game board and add some text for the game title, etc. So see you in the next lecture.